Hey there! Do you know that a pound of red caviar is worth $50? But why is it that you'd only pay $5 for a pound of herring or capelin caviar? That's 10 times cheaper! It's like comparing Ford Fusion with Ferrari 488 GTB. We all know the difference between Ford Fusion and Ferrari, but are salmon caviar and capelin caviar actually different in quality? Or maybe advertisers are just the ones fueling the hype? Now you're going to find out. Salmon is an amazing dish. They're born in rivers and then swim out to sea where they live out their adult lives. When they've matured, they return to their birth river to breed. Such a journey takes several months. But that's in the wild. In captivity, however, salmon are kept on salmon farms. You might be thinking that the farms are some kind of giant ponds where salmon live and breed? Far from it. A salmon farm looks like this. The huge circles in the sea are cages where adult salmon live. To know how big they are, look at the fishing boats next to them. The boats look very tiny. Maybe you're already feeling sorry for the poor fish living in captivity? Take it easy. Salmon are fed well, they are treated from diseases, and there are no predators inside the cages. The fish lives a very comfortable, safe, and dull life. But when the spawning season comes, the situation changes. Males and females head to the pond through special channels. Instinct drives them towards the pond because the salmon were born there. The fish pass through narrow channels, swim into the building, and jump into the receiving buckets by themselves. A winch slowly lifts a basket containing the fish into the work area. The bucket overturns and the fish slide into the tray. Workers immediately pick up the salmon and send them to the processing facility. This is where the dirty work starts. The fish are divided into males and females. The females have their bellies quickly ripped open. The eggs are taken out and sent to huge trays. Now the males are brought to the trays. Even under such crazy conditions, salmon still retain their instinct of procreation. The males fertilize eggs right in the trays. Yes, the white trickles you're seeing is salmon sperm. Done. The caviar is ready for further processing. The salmon carcasses are set aside to be harvested for meat and sent to store shelves. That's cruel, huh? Yes, but that's the natural course of things. After spawning, all salmon die except the Atlantic salmon. Workers add water to the trays containing the fertilized eggs and mix everything thoroughly. This is to ensure that the sperm has maximum access to the eggs. Now the eggs are sent to the ponds from where millions of tiny fry will hatch. And now, some good news for those who are worried about the fate of the Atlantic salmon. The Atlantic salmon is the only species that can spawn 4 to 5 times in their lifetime. Of course, these long-living fish are not killed unnecessarily. Farm workers use a humane harvesting method to get caviar without killing the fish, after which the fish are released back to the cages. How does this work? The process looks strange. The worker takes the fish in his hands and gently massages her belly. This makes the fish give up its eggs, and then it's released back into the water. Sperm is collected from the males to fertilize the eggs in a similar way. I'm not sure if the fish enjoy this, but they remain alive and well. A similar procedure awaits the fish that produces the delicate black caviar. The beluga, for example, lives for about 100 years. In its long lifetime, this great sturgeon spawns 5 to 6 times, releasing up to 1 million eggs per spawn. A pound of beluga caviar is sold for about $500. This is like the goose that lays the golden eggs. Farm workers do their best to keep the sturgeons alive. Before harvesting eggs, the female's belly is treated with an antiseptic to prevent infection. Then a sterile instrument is inserted into her genital opening, the ovary is cut, all the eggs are gently removed, collected in containers, and fertilized there. The female quickly recovers after such a procedure and lives for many years. As you can see, harvesting fish eggs is not an easy task. On large farms, the workload is so great that special robotic facilities are used to rinse the eggs. Such a machine handles tens of pounds of caviar at a time. All organic impurities that could lead to infection are removed from caviar. Then the machine adds sperm to the trays and gently mixes the egg mass for maximum fertilization. A few more minutes and you're done. The fertilized eggs are carefully disinfected and sent to the ponds to hatch. This takes about 6 months in the wild, but in the comfortable farm conditions, fry would appear in a couple of months. Wait, what? If all the eggs are used for breeding, where does the canned caviar come from? The answer is simple. Only a part of the caviar is used for breeding fry. The others are sent for processing, salting, and canning. But have a look at this slippery mass. It doesn't look very appetizing, does it? So how do they make a delicacy out of this? It all starts with extraction of the egg sacs, the so-called membranous sac or skein that holds the eggs inside the fish. Based on sanitary requirements, the skein must be intact, eggs cannot be taken out of there. Why is that? Because the eggs remain sterile as long as they're located in the belly cavity. Bacteria can only enter the product from the outside, and the membranous sac acts like a shield against bacteria. The harvested skeins are collected in mesh baskets of 13 to 17 pounds in capacity. The layer height cannot exceed 2 inches. If there are too many skeins, the eggs at the bottom would burst due to excessive pressure. The prepared skeins are sorted into grades 1 and 2. They are rinsed with cold fresh water to remove all impurities such as mucus, blood clots, and pieces of membrane. After that, the eggs are cooled in concentrated saline solution for 3 minutes. During this time, the product should cool down to 33 to 35 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooled skeins are laid on the trays to drain, and after 10 to 15 minutes, they are ready for piercing. It sounds creepy, but the procedure is actually very simple. A worker at the caviar farm carefully pierces the skeins, takes out the caviar, and cleans it of membrane. At large production facilities, the membranous sacs are screened on a sieve or other mesh screen to separate the eggs from the membrane. Now it's time for salting. But first, you have to prepare brine, a saline solution for salting fish. To do this, you add 2.7 pounds of salt to 35 cubic pounds of water. The solution is boiled for half an hour, filtered, and cooled. The brine is left for 3 to 10 days before use. Caviar is salted in 44-pound portions. 9 pints of brine are used per kilo of caviar. Caviar is steeped in the salt water for 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the size and quality of the eggs. To check whether the product is ready, the farm worker takes out the eggs and crushes them with fingers. If the contents don't flow, but come out in drops, then it's ready. Another test is to gently squeeze the eggs in your hand. If it doesn't stick together, then you're good to go. After draining the brine, calcined oil and antiseptics are added to the caviar. Are you disappointed and disillusioned? You thought the expensive caviar you see on store shelves contained no artificial chemicals? Alas, there's nothing you can do about it. Without antiseptics, caviar would spoil even in sealed containers. Before vegetable oil is added, the caviar is calcined for 30 minutes at 250 degrees Fahrenheit, then cooled to room temperature and mixed with glycerin. Of course, high-quality oil is used for such delicacy. It could be sesame, nut, corn, cotton, or refined sunflower oil. Bean or linseed oil is not suitable because they make the caviar bitter. It's almost ready. Now you need to check the product for the last time. Maybe there could be some membrane you missed. No? Sort the caviar into grades, package, send to store shelves. There are so many types of caviar. Capelin, herring, flying fish. Why are some species sold for $5 while others are worth $100? Now, let's get this straight. In the 19th century, doctors prescribed red caviar to debilitated patients as a tonic because it has an amazing chemical composition. Red caviar contains 30 to 35% protein and 12 to 15% fat. It has no carbohydrate at all. Red caviar contains an incredible amount of vitamins A, E, D, K, and almost the entire B vitamins. Besides, it contains potassium, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sulfur, iron, manganese, selenium, zinc, saturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids, and many essential amino acids. Salmon caviar is a very healthy delicacy. Moreover, it has a mild buttery taste with a touch of sweetness. Fish flavor is there, but it's weak. It gives the product some spice. There are more than a dozen kinds of red caviar: pink salmon, chum salmon, sockeye salmon, coho salmon, Atlantic salmon, trout salmon, brown trout, Siberian salmon, Chinook salmon. Each has its own flavor. For example, sockeye salmon caviar has a pronounced fish flavor. Americans and Europeans love this taste, but no one likes it in Russia. Coho salmon caviar is the undisputed champion in terms of the amount of useful substances contained. But it is slightly bitter in taste, so some people like it while others don't. Chum salmon caviar contains the highest percentage of fats. It has a pronounced creamy aftertaste. It literally melts in the mouth. Most people think this variety has a perfect balance of flavors, but if you're a fan of light diet foods, you'll find chum salmon caviar too oily. Black caviar is almost the same in composition as red caviar. It contains a little more fat, but its taste is completely different. High-quality black caviar has marine and not fishy flavor. To some, it resembles a seaweed aftertaste. The most delicious is beluga caviar, which is the most expensive. 1 pound of this caviar is sold for about $4,000. Beluga caviar has a distinct nutty flavor and a very mild aftertaste. Kaluga caviar resembles beluga caviar, but it has a weaker nutty flavor. The sturgeon has iodized seaweed flavor, while the sterlet leaves a sea taste on the tongue. Cervuga caviar contains the highest amount of fat among all black caviars. It has a delicate buttery taste with no distinct features. Perhaps we can agree that black caviar is truly a gourmet delicacy. But why should I pay $8,000 just for a nutty flavor? This is crazy! Flying fish caviar has a similar chemical composition. It also contains many vitamins and minerals. Yes, Tobiko is small, hard, and has a common taste. It sells for $5 a jar. Why do we have such a huge difference? The point is, black and red caviar are harvested from endangered fish species. Beluga, for example, has been classified as critically endangered in the red list. Fish farms produce a limited amount of black and red caviar, so their prices are very high. Let's be honest, the taste and benefits of this product have long been irrelevant. Caviar have become a status symbol of the elite. People pay not for caviar sandwiches, but for status. This makes no sense to me. There are much more interesting ways to spend money. Don't you think so? Would you pay $500 for a pound of black caviar? Share your opinion in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, share, and hit that like button so you don't miss a single video. I have a lot of new and interesting things for you.